So today's video is all about art composition and the tool I use in order to pull it all together, particularly the design elements of the picture. I'm looking to see if I can balance my subject, and typically I do portraits and dances, and so I'm not interested in rules of thirds or leading lines. But I do like to use a particular technique called the golden ratio. And this was discovered, or at least first recorded, about 300 BC by a Greek mathematician. And in observing nature, he saw a ratio of, how to explain it? There was a certain mathematical proportions of things he could see on a regular occurrence, a mathematical pattern. Whether it was in someone's face, the proportion from their lips to their eyes to their ears, and you can see it in sunflowers, in certain seashells, and with the aid of telescopes we actually see this mathematical pattern being repeated in the galaxies, in spiral galaxies. And so it's such a natural composition, design, that we're attuned to it. And so I use that to balance my pictures so that the eye sort of naturally goes, without even thinking about it. Our brains go, oh, I quite like how that's laid out, without any obvious, I want your eyes to look in here. So I'm going to show you how I use the golden ratio as I'm setting up for a new painting, and I'm going to be doing this in PowerPoint. So let's get started. So here's my PowerPoint. Now the reason I use PowerPoint is I can set up the slides. It's such an easy video editing program, video editing, image editing program. It's not designed for that, but it does it so well. And when I'm doing my paintings, I use pastel matte paper, which I buy in sheets of 70 centimeters by 50 centimeters. And I'm also able to buy frames, pre-made frames, that are exactly that size. So it saves a lot of cost in framing the painting. So for my reference photo, I like using PowerPoint because the layout of this slide, just get rid of that slide size, you can set it to 70 by 50. And it's got no problem, it'll be huge. I do it to half that size. So my width is 35 centimeters, my height is 25. So I don't have to super enlarge the photos that I use as a reference. So that's why I'm using PowerPoint. It fits what I see on the PowerPoint, and when I save it as an image, that's exactly what I'm going to transpose to my painting. So I get the proportions right for my composition. Now here we go with our golden spiral, the golden ratio, and I'll flash up the math of it. But I'm not going to go into detail. I have done another video on how to make a golden spiral in PowerPoint, so if you'd like to do that or learn how to do that, have a look at my other video. It's actually been the most popular one on my channel. So here we have the golden spiral, and the lovely thing about it is we can move it around. We can have it vertical. We can flip it upside down, we can flip it from side to side. So it's a very versatile tool as you are using it or as I use it to balance my picture. Now the picture I'm going to be painting is of this lady here, Neela, and maybe I'll just quickly talk a little bit about Neela, my model. And I met Neela during the COVID pandemic. There was all these work from home situations, lock-ins, and like many people, I went to LinkedIn to just have some professional chat with others and see if I could drum up some work. And I came across Neela, and she's in California, though I suspect her true nature is a New Yorker, where she spent a number of years. And she was quite a firebrand, quite feisty. She referred to it as spicy, as in chilies. And certainly her posts and comments were quite spicy. Anyway, she's a professional chief operating officer, and so that's people and process, making things work. Very clued up, excellent writer. You can find her on Medium and Substack if you're a reader. I totally recommend subscribing to her articles. They're just good common sense and written in a lovely storyfied manner, if that's a word. Storyfied, not manner. So anyway, I needed a fresh subject to paint, and I asked Neela if she'd mind if I painted her. And she graciously agreed and signed the release form. And we then looked at photos, probably 100 photos, and I couldn't quite find what I was looking for. I still haven't quite found what I'm looking for, and hope that one day she'll do a sitting for me and I'll just capture what I'm really looking for. But this is a good photo. This is for a corporate shoot, for a profile photo. Now you might go, well, what? You've got this in landscape, so it looks like I'm going to be doing a landscape painting. Why do that? It's a portrait. Why not do it in portrait, in vertical? So I'll just quickly show you why. So here we go. So here it's dropped in as into vertical. And remember, I am going to use the dimensions of my paper, 70 by 50. That's what I want to use. So in order to do that, she's centered right in the middle at the moment. I can't have this cut off space underneath. That's not going to work. And I don't use mats in my paintings. I prefer painting right edge to edge of the frame, and use a special riser to lift the glass off the pastel. Not that you have to lift glass off pastel. French got a special term for it, where they don't do that. But if I was to enlarge here, it's just centered to the back, so you can see here's my golden spiral, and she kind of fits in there somehow. It's not awesome, but there's a fit. What I'd have to do is crop her to get her to fit to the paper. So let's just do that. And immediately what's happened is there's this awkwardness in that one arm is sort of disappearing off that way and the other one's dropping down, and I've lost the tattoo, which is part of who she is. And it just doesn't fit well. I mean, that spiral actually does work around her eyes. So if I just zoom in there, see this beautiful little too big, David. Beautiful curve around her eye, into a nose around the lip. That's quite lovely. But it doesn't feel proportioned correctly to me. You could do a painting like that, but that's not. It doesn't do it for me. In fact, let me read you a quote. Let's change to this camera. So this is a quote from Henri Matisse, quite a famous painter, and he said, "Composition is the art of arranging in a decorative manner." That's nice, isn't it? A decorative manner. The diverse elements at the painter's command to express his feelings. I really agree with Henri Matisse on this, that a painting, you need to feel it as an artist. I certainly need to. If I can't feel the painting, it just doesn't work. It's a very unhappy experience. So when I look at Neela here, I'm like, yeah, that's a lovely photo, but that's not working for me in art. Yes, I could just get a little bit more of that that tattoo in there, but it's going to be right up against the edge of the frame. It doesn't read well. So let's go back to the landscape, and we're going to drop her in here. And look at that, Microsoft. A person looking up and thinking, how fantastic. Well done, Microsoft. We'll send you to the back, Neela. Now, if I was to fill in this space on the left, so where all the busyness of the golden spirals going on, so we'll just grab this little block here. It's a little darker than what it should be, but it'll give you a bit of a idea. And it just, no, it does, no, that doesn't work. So I read a painting from left to right, just the way I read a book. It is true sometimes when you're looking at a painting, you'll see the focal point first of all, but later on as I'm looking at a painting, I tend to read it left to right. So that means she would, whoops, leave that there, let's just move the picture. She would be over on this side of the picture. So now we're starting to get somewhere. I want to take this, I've just, this little box I have colour matched to the background, so that's just a grade. Let's send that to back. So this is dropping her in. It's like, oh, that's okay, but it's not quite there yet. So I'm just going to make her a little bigger and see if we can, oh, that's right on her nose. Let's have a look at that. So, and let's just keep zooming in. That's quite nice. So that's, her eye is almost captured within this space here. There's that curve of the spiral is coming down. It's touching the corner of her lip, round her ear, round her head, on is that the apex of her shoulder, right on the curve. And she is quite well balanced within that frame. So let's just crop that. Where do we want to go? We want to go picture format, crop. And I don't have, oops, let's move this over and shift that back. So this arm now makes sense as well as it curves down, whereas before it was just sort of disappearing into somewhere. So that's a pretty good first cut balance, and I'd probably fiddle around some more until I got it exactly where I wanted, but already I can see there's this nice space over here, big empty space. She's balanced, weighted as far as the golden ratio goes in this spot. The curves are right. That's pretty good actually. Yay me. Alright, so that's how I pretty much use the golden ratio to just line up my subjects for paintings, to just get the proportions and balance right. The rest of the artwork, let's just grab her, and we'll that and that. Come on, and group, and we'll just paste you down here as a picture, Neela. There you go. Get rid of you. So what I noticed about this is her tattoo, for the other part of the composition, is bringing the, as Henri Matisse said, is bringing the elements at my command together in a decorative way. That was nice of him, in a decorative way. So her tattoo, from my experience with Pastel, this is a shade of turquoise, and anyone who watches my channel knows how much I love turquoise. So that colour there is mimicked in the background of the backdrop that she would have been had the photo done against, and I can also see it in her hair, this beautiful turquoise coming down, and it's also in her eyebrow, so that's nice. And in the composition I can also see her hair. I'm glad I haven't cropped that out. So we've got this flowing movement. We've got movement in the painting. She's slightly turning away. That works for me. Now I do all my paintings live from the studio, so if you want to watch how Neela is brought to life on my canvas, on my pastel mat, feel free to join a live stream, drop a comment. Otherwise they're left as live recordings for later as well, so you can always go and watch one of those. But I hope you enjoyed this, just a little video on how I use the golden ratio to line up my subjects. Thanks so much for watching.